What's up guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing something just a little bit different. It is going to be a pick a pile reading, but there's only going to be 2 piles and it's going to be based on a horror story or a scary story, so to speak. So I'm only doing 2 piles because I don't know how popular this is going to be or how long the video is going to be, considering how many choices you may or may not have. I'm calling these readings, Will You Survive? So will you survive your horror story or your scary story? So I'm gonna go ahead and mix the decks here. I'm using 4 different decks, Oracle or Tarot decks, to pretty much say your story. I'm gonna be using them in a different way, more visual, more the pictures, maybe the keywords, but mainly the pictures. And we'll see where my imagination takes your story to and whether or not you will survive based on your choices. Now, this pick a pile is going to be really focused on timestamps because it's going to be based on the choices that you make, whether or not you will survive. So please check out the description for the timestamps. You will have a countdown before you make your choices. So choose wisely and let us know in the comments if you survived. Don't tell people what choices you picked because then you'll just ruin it for them. So please don't do that, but just let us know if you survived or not. All right, now let me get to mixing the piles so we can proceed with your stories. All right, I have the cards picked out. Now, none of this is scripted. It's all gonna be on the spot as far as the storytelling goes. So please bear with me. Just try to go with the flow as well, and we'll see where it goes. Now, will you survive your horror story? This is pile 1, if you choose this story. And this is pile 2, if you choose this story. You can pick both piles if you want, but it'll be linked in the description for pile 1 and pile 2. Pile 1, your story begins on an island where you chose to take a vacation with your best friend. It's during the springtime, so the weather's not too bad. It's a little bit cloudy, but it doesn't look like it's gonna rain. So you enjoy your day out with your friend. When you're out touring the island, you notice that there's posters on the walls. There's a carnival in town. So you tell your friend, hey, let's go check out this carnival. Why not? Carnivals are fun. You go to the carnival, you have a good time. One of the main rides you want to get on is the carousel, specifically on a white horse. And you just have a blast. Now, during this time at the carnival, you realize it's getting pretty dark out and there's not a lot of light left for you to figure out your way out of the carnival. You also begin to realize there's not really anybody left. It's just you and your friend. And you're trying to find the exit. But upon looking for the exit, you feel like someone is watching you. And next thing you know, you hear a loud noise of a garbage can being knocked over. The noises of cans hitting the floor frightens you and your friend. And that's when you look at the direction where the sound was. And you see this. There's a creepy clown just chilling in the carnival with just you and your friend. Why? Why are they there? You don't like clowns. Your friend doesn't mind them. Because your friend doesn't mind them, they try to go and say hello. Bad idea. When your friend goes to say hello to this clown, the clown takes her. And you're left alone. You don't know what to do. You're frightened. You're confused. Should you go to her or should you look for help? You hear screams of your friend in the distance. Is she okay? Can I still reach her? Is she still alive? Do I go to her or do I look for help? Make your choice. Do you head towards the sound to your right? Or do you head towards what you think is the exit to your left? If you chose to go left, this is what happens. You go to the left. You're trying to find help. You notice in the distance, you hear a little bit of rustling. You're like, what is that? Is it the clown? Did he find me? Is he here? And then the little black cat pops out. They're holding something in their mouth. It's a little Poppet. It's a little doll in their mouth. Like, where did this cat get this doll? Where did this cat come from? You feel a sense of comfort from this cat. And then you start thinking, okay, if this cat found a doll, maybe they picked it up towards where a bunch of kids would have been, or towards where everyone's cars may have been, and maybe a kid dropped it. It would have picked it up somewhere where there would have been a lot of people. So you're thinking, okay, should I try to follow this cat, or should I just take what's in their mouth and try to use it as some sort of distraction, like to throw it or something? Do you choose to follow the cat, or do you choose to take the Poppet from the cat and use it as a distraction? If you chose to follow the black cat and leave them with their little Poppet, let's see if you made it out alive. If they did in fact lead you to where the parking lot was, which eventually would have connected you with other people that were still getting their things together to leave. Now these 3 cards, I'm going to read off of the energy to get a yes or no on whether or not you survived. The Queen of Wands, the 8 of Swords, the 7 of Discs. The cat did lead you to safety, but you noticed there wasn't anybody in the parking lot. There was a car though, for some reason. And as you're walking towards the car, again with that same cat following you, holding the doll in their mouth, rocking back and forth. As you're walking towards the car, you hear a little hit the floor. You turn around and you see it's a key. Specifically the key to the one car in the parking lot. So you're able to get in the car and go find help for you and your friend. Whether or not your friend is still alive, we won't know, but you did survive. If you chose to take the Poppet from the black cat, you received some scratches during the process, but at least now you have an item to possibly use as a distraction. Upon grabbing the Poppet, you start feeling, it feels like there's something in here. What is it? It's a magnifying glass. Why is there a magnifying glass in this doll? We'll never know, but it's there and it might be useful. You begin to hear crows in the distance and noises of something coming closer. The clown is getting closer. You notice though, this clown doesn't look like any ordinary clown. There's something wrong with their face. On their clown makeup, there's something on it, on top of it. Why? It looks deformed. What's wrong with their face? The clown is getting closer and closer to you. And you start thinking, well, what the fuck am I gonna do? I have a doll and I have a magnifying glass. What am I gonna do with this? As you're thinking, the clown is getting closer and closer, and you're like, shit, I have to do something. You throw the Poppet. You throw it as far away as you can from your location to give yourself more time. And you start feeling a sense of warmth on you. You're like, what is that? You look up, it's the sun. Has that much time already passed? Is the sun already beginning to rise? Is my friend still alive? Granted, it's still cloudy, but every now and then the sun comes through, and then you notice, I remember when I was a kid, they showed that with magnifying glass, you can burn things. It's a long stretch, but maybe I can try to angle this magnifying glass to either blind this clown or burn them in some way. I have to do something. With all this commotion and all these thoughts going in your head, you hear more crows, except this crow is on the other side, opposite of the clown. And they're holding something on their beak that's kind of shiny, but you can't tell what it is. Now, do you choose to wait for for the perfect timing of a sun ray in hopes to blind and or burn this clown for you to escape and survive? Or do you choose to go towards that crow that has something shiny in their mouth with the hopes of it being some sort of weapon or something else for you to use that's better than a magnifying glass waiting for the sun to come out? Which option will you choose? If you chose the magnifying glass, you're very good at timing things because you managed to get a sun ray just right enough to burn the clown's face. Remember that stuff that they had on their face, or at least it looked like there was something on their face? We don't know what exactly it was, but that clown's face started melting. And upon it melting, it started blinding him, whatever it was that they had in their face. It started blinding them. So you had a chance to run and escape. You still don't know if your friend is still alive or not, but at this point, enough time has passed that they might not be. So right now you have to think of you. You have to think of you getting out to safety. While this clown is blinded, you have a chance to run. The sun is coming out. You're able to see where you're supposed to go to make it out. But you have to run past the clown who's attempting to unblind themselves. You run past the clown. And when you do you make it out alive? Do you survive? Or does the clown manage to grab you? Will you survive? Ace of Cups, Seven of Cups, Nine of Wands. Now, the clown does manage to hear you run past them, and they barely grab onto your shirt, hard enough that they tear a part of it. So there's some scuffling, but you do manage to survive. If you chose to run towards the crow that had that shiny thing on their mouth, you got close enough to see that they're holding a key. So you take the key. The crow is a little bit mad, but they don't end up hurting you. They just fly away. You take the key and you start thinking, okay, well, maybe wherever this crow got the key is towards wherever the crow landed. So you keep going. You keep going, and the clown is still following behind you. The sun is coming up. There's enough light for you to see where you're going. You notice the parking lot. However, there's no cars there, and the gate is locked. Do you manage to get the gate open with that key that you have, that you miraculously found from that crow? Or does that key not even work for the gate, and the clown ends up getting you because it doesn't open it? Will you survive? The Hanged Man, the Queen of Wands, the Knight of Wands. Ooh, you are a fighter. Jesus Christ. I'm getting, if that key were to not work, this is what I'm hearing that some of you guys might be thinking. If that key doesn't work, I will climb that fence. I don't give a fuck. That is what I'm hearing. But I am getting a yes here. I am getting that you are very much a survivor. You're more of a fight person than a flight person. But obviously in this case, you are trying to run because you don't have any other way to defend yourself. But the key ends up working on the gate for you to get out. And you know what? You're able to close and lock that clown in too. They're not able to follow you after that. So upon you getting out, closing the gate behind you, the clown stops chasing you. You end up finding the highway that's close to the garage where the cars would be coming in to park. And because it's already daylight, right? The sun is coming up. People are starting to go to work and things like that. So you end up running into a few cars going down. You tell them what happened and they're able to take you to safety. So you survive. So by one, let me know what you thought of this reading, whether or not you liked it. Depending on how this video does or the feedback from people, I might do more. The stories might get more intense, but obviously this is my first one. So please let me know in the comments. If you like this type of storytelling, pick a pile so I can do more for you guys. And if you chose this pile, leave the clown emoji in the comments. I'd very much appreciate it. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye! If you chose pile 2, your story begins in a regular old house. Not too old though. You're actually babysitting. It's the fall time, close enough to Halloween, and ironically there's a full moon out as well. So you're babysitting a cute and well-behaved 3-year-old. Because this 3-year-old is so behaved, you guys end up sort of falling asleep on the couch watching a movie. Though you end up being waken up by the clock striking midnight. For some reason though, the 3-year-old is knocked out. They don't wake up. Just you. So you go put the 3-year-old to bed in their own room. After setting the 3-year-old down to bed, you start wiping your eyes, you're yawning, you're trying to wake up. And you're also getting a little hungry, so you want to go look for snacks. So as you're about to exit the 3-year-old's room, you hear a noise in the attic, which stops you, literally stops you on your tracks. Like you're about to take another step and you just pause because you heard that noise. So you're like, oh no, what is that? Of all times for this to happen, even though you're a little freaked out of the noise, you think to yourself, well, I'm the freaking babysitter. I'm the one who's in charge right now. I'm the one who has to also protect this 3-year-old, so I have to see what that was. So you go upstairs to the attic. You pull down the little string that brings down the attic ladder. You go up in the attic, and you hear that same noise again in the corner. You shine your flashlight because you have no idea where the attic light is, because obviously this isn't your home. And you see ever so slightly like a box move. It scares you. And of all things, a rat comes out behind it, having pushed that box. So you think to yourself, oh, it was just a frickin' rat, what the hell? But then your curious mind is thinking, what's in that box? You check this box out and you notice, it looks like it was purposely trying to be kept shut, but somebody else previously may have broken it already. So you're like, why not? Let's see what's inside. I'm already up here, might as well check. You open the box and you find some old looking letters rustling around at the top of the box inside. You hear like a metal sound in there, and you find a little ball and chain. You're like, this is odd, why is this in here? It's also cute looking because it's tiny. Further down in the box, you see like a piece of clothing. You're like, what is this? So you pull at it, and when you pull at the clothing, you pick up a doll. Now this doll is looking freaky as hell. And you notice that on the doll, they have another ball and chain attached to them. Like, why would this doll have a ball and chain attached to them? As if someone's trying to hold the doll down or hold them in place. Or keep them captive. Why? You're still holding the doll while you're thinking of all this, by the way. But as you're holding the doll, you unknowingly are feeding the doll. Your curiosities, the fears that you had, even the simplest fear of that rat that knocked the box down, that fear was feeding the doll. The doll's eyes begin to glow. Its face begins to change. And you're still holding it as an infant, and you notice at the corner of your eye something moving, and it's the doll's face. You scream, you drop the doll, and you run out of the attic. Because you ran so quickly out of the attic, you forgot to close the attic. So the stairs are still left down and open for this doll to be able to get out. The first thing that you do is run towards the 3-year-old's room because you're trying to keep them safe. They're still knocked out, by the way. They don't even know any of this is happening. So it's as if you're alone with just this haunted doll. You start hearing little footsteps, and you start thinking to yourself, no. Is that freaking doll moving? Or is that the rat that I saw earlier? What am I gonna do? What can I do? As far as you know, the doll thinks that you're here alone. The doll doesn't know that there's another child here that it can feed off of. So you think to yourself, okay, it just thinks that it's me. It doesn't know that the 3-year-old is here. In order to keep them safe, I'm gonna have to lock them in their room, but I can't be in there with them. You know where the key is to their room anyways. It's somewhere kept safe in the kitchen, so it's fine. At least this way you'll know their door is locked, nothing can go in unless they have the key to open the door, which a doll can't do that, right? So you lock the door ever so slightly. You're hearing footsteps getting louder and faster and closer towards the attic stairs. So you're like, shit, I have to go hide. You run towards the kitchen and hide behind a counter, but you have view of the stairs leading up to the 2nd floor, which also has view of the attic stairs. As you're hiding behind the kitchen counter, you notice the doll. They obviously can't walk down the stairs, but they want to get out. They try their best to get down those attic stairs, and they make it. And you're freaking out even more, because now the doll getting closer to you. Now, because you fed the doll knows your scent. The doll knows where you are. The question is, how fast can they get to you? You realize this because they're looking right into the kitchen, so they know you're in there. So you start thinking, okay, where else can I go? Where else can I go? You can either go to the basement, or you can try to pull a fast one on the doll and go back into the attic, thinking maybe there's more in that box where the doll was in, because there were chains in there, so maybe there's something else that I can use against the doll. Somebody else had to have done it if there was chains in there for the doll. There has to be something else in that box. Or I can try to go to the basement in the attempts of finding a way out to get help. Do you choose the basement or the attic? If you chose to go in the basement, upon looking around in the basement, you find what appears to be like a small, ancient, magical-looking mirror. And you start thinking, okay, well, it's better than nothing. I've heard somewhere that mirrors can be portals, right? Why can't I use that to trap the doll within the portal and send them somewhere else? Now, in the back of the mirror, you end up finding a letter. It's a letter that has sort of instructions on how to use it. Lucky you, right? The issue is, one of the main ingredients to use and activate the mirror is water. And for you to get water, you have to go back up to the kitchen. Now, do you choose to go back up to the kitchen? Or do you try to get one of the windows in the basement open to escape? Will you survive if you chose the window? 4 of discs, 3 of swords, 4 of swords. You do not survive if you chose the window. Why? Because as you're trying to get into the window, mind you, this is one of the small rectangular sized ones. It's not one that can comfortably fit someone to get out, and it's pretty high up. You're not able to reach it properly, and you can't actually fit through the window. In your attempts of trying to reach the window, you do manage to crack it open, to lift it enough to see that it can open. But as you're trying to reach it, you tumble on the items that you stacked up to reach it. Upon making that noise, the doll knows where you're at, and they get to you. So you do not survive if you chose the window. If you chose to go to the kitchen to get some water to activate the magic mirror, Will you survive using the magic mirror? We have King of Swords, King of Wands, and King of Disc. A lot of kings here, a lot of king energy. This is a big yes. This is a big yes. If you chose to use the magic mirror, if you chose to be strong and brave to run back up there into the kitchen, then you do survive. Now what happens is you get the water. You don't need a lot because you have to put it on the mirror here. The instructions read, in order for this negative entity to be captured, to be sucked into the portal of the mirror, you have to find a way to get them to stand over it. So, in order to do that, you need to bait the haunted doll. You put the mirror down and you end up baiting the doll, and it starts running to you. It starts gunning it. It doesn't even think twice because it's so raged with hunger. It doesn't even think twice to look at where it's walking. And it ends up walking on top of the mirror. And as it does, it gets sucked into it. Where it goes, we don't know. But the doll isn't there anymore, and you're safe, and you survive. If you chose to go back into the attic in hopes that the box contains more items, you end up finding a crystal in the box. So you're thinking to yourself, okay, I know some things with the occult, right? I know crystals can hold enormous power, so there has to be a way to use this crystal on the haunted doll. It was in the box with them for a reason. Maybe it's something that drained them of their power, absorbed their power. But in order for that to work, the doll has to be very close to the crystal. And you start thinking, okay, well, where can I get this doll to go to where it'll be by the crystal, but stay by the crystal? And then it hits you. The box. The box where that doll was, that very same crystal was in there. The doll was away from the crystal when I picked them up. So I have to get that doll back in that box with the crystal. Question is though, do you use the crystal and attempt to capture the doll, or do you lock yourself up in the attic and hope that when the parents get home that you guys will be safe? Do you choose to use the crystal, or do you choose to wait and lock yourself in the attic? If you chose to lock yourself up in the attic, will you survive? Queen of Wands, the Fool, and the Ace of Discs, which is like the Ace of Pentacles. This is interesting because I didn't think this would happen. I'm getting a yes, you will survive for now. It's more of a maybe. Now, the reason why it's a maybe is because you do survive in the sense that the parents end up getting home and you hear them coming home and you tell them, hey, I'm in the attic, I can't get out. They let you out of the attic, you're totally fine. But you have no idea where that doll is. And that doll is still hungry for your scent. So you survive for now, but you don't know where the doll is. And the doll will always know where you are. Ooh. I actually didn't really think something like this was gonna happen, so this is pretty interesting. If you chose to stay in the attic and bait the doll and use the crystal, will you survive? You have the Eight of Wands, the Hanged Man, and the Six of Swords. I'm getting a yes, you will survive, but at a cost. During the commotion of trying to bait the doll back into the attic where you're at, mind you, It's the doll. It's having a little bit of trouble getting up those attic stairs. So you hear it coming, which is great because you know when to time it perfectly. You place yourself behind the box in the doll's view. The crystal is already in the box. The doll doesn't know that. The doll eventually gets up into the attic. They see you. They start running towards you. The box is small enough, not too heavy enough for you to grab it and pick it up if needed, if that doll ends up jumping instead of just directly trying to crawl on the box to get to you. So you're ready, right? And the doll does just that. The doll lunges towards you once it gets close enough to get at you. In that process, you grab the box, you pick it up slightly, and you manage to get the doll in the box, but as the doll is falling into the box, it bites on your hand. You scream, but you're thinking to yourself, I can't drop the box because the doll is gonna get out and the crystal is gonna get lost because they won't be able to find it if it falls out of the box. It hurts. The doll bit your hand. It looks disgusting. There's like black stuff oozing out of it. It doesn't even look like blood. It looks infected. You're struggling. It's hurting. You shut the box. In the process, you injure your other fingers because you're trying to make sure the doll stays in the box at any cost. You manage to get your fingers out of the box and lock the box and keep the doll in there. Now, mind you, that doll bit your hand. You don't know what that doll had. If it had rabies, whatever, some evil spirit diseases for all you know, right? Because your bite mark looks grotesque. It looks poisonous, is what it looks like. But you're safe. The doll is kept in the box. You're safe. You end up surviving. Yes, you have an injury, but it ends up getting taken care of at the hospital. They clean it out. People realize that the black oozy stuff that you saw in there was kind of some sort of paint or something that the doll had on its face. I guess whoever made the doll. So it's fine. They give you antibiotics, things like that. They clean you up and you're fine. You have a scar now for the rest of your life, but you survived. Well, that is it for this video, pile 2. If you chose this pile, let me know in the comments down below what you think. If this was fun for you guys, if you'd like to see more, please let me know. Also, let us know in the comments if you survived, but don't tell us what option you picked because I don't want it to be ruined for anybody who wants to see the video. And if you stuck to this part of the video, please leave. Is there a doll emoji? Hold on, let me check. So there's no doll emoji, but there is a mirror emoji. So leave the mirror emoji if you chose pile 2 in the comments down below. That way I know. Don't forget to like the videos. It helps me out a lot. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.